What's up, y'all? It's Otaku Tavern back at you with another video, and hope everybody is doing well today or tonight, whatever time zone it is for you, whatever time of day or whatever it is for you. Also, if you like the type of content that I create, make sure you like, subscribe, and click the bell notification so that you do not miss a video. And that is if you want to, and if you don't, then whatever too, I guess. But anyway, so what I want to talk about tonight is actually something something pretty nostalgic, actually. So I don't know if anyone really remembers these games I'm about to talk about, but like these games I'm fixing to talk about was on the GBA, right? You know, I grew up playing them on the Game Boy SP, right? You know, Game Boy Advance, all that. And these games were, you know, they were very fun, and I thought it was like a different approach to like the whole Dragon Ball games genre. But anyway, we're going to talk about what kind of makes these games kind of really unique, honestly, and you know, just I don't know, overall, just really good old games, right? But yeah, anyway, the games that I'm talking about, by the title I'm sure you've already known, but you know, I want to talk about Dragon Ball Z Legacy of Goku 2, preferably. I'll talk a little bit about 1, but like mostly 2, and then Buu's Fury, which is technically Legacy of Goku 3, technically, just with a different name. But like, you know, and I kind of want to share like, you know, my thoughts for like a Legacy of Goku 4 and a Legacy of Goku 5. I know it'll never happen, but like, you know, I've always, especially the Legacy of Goku 4, I've always like thought about this ever since I was like really young. And then, you know, there was a game that was like sort of similar to this, but you know, we'll kind of talk about it. But like this game here just really didn't hold up to my expectations, really, like the way that it was. But anyway, you know, obviously like Legacy of Goku 1, you know, is like the whole Frieza saga, and you know, like the Ginyu Force and all of that type of stuff. You know, and basically, you know, these games are notorious for their wild enemies, and I'm also going to talk about a game that, like, it really felt like I was actually kind of playing this to a degree, not like 100%, maybe like, I don't know, maybe 40% like it, but, you know, it had a lot of things obviously missing and stuff like that, but I'll get into that here momentarily. But going back to Legacy of Goku 1, you know, this game introduced, like, some very unique, like, ways of, like, fighting. Like, and what I mean, like, is, you know, I wonder, like, if the series will, like, these games will ever get revived. I kind of doubt it. I mean, it would be cool if we got, like, something for, like, I don't know, maybe Switch or something, or PlayStation, but, like, I don't know, like, I don't know, like, we'll see, but anyway. So, basically, you know, when you're, like, in the wilderness, in Legacy of Goku 1, you know, you fight, like, enemies that you kind of wouldn't really, really kind of expect to fight within, like, a Dragon Ball Z game, right? Like, but, like, the thing is with this, though, is, like, the way that it works is, you know, when you're in the wilderness and stuff, like, there will be these enemies, like, maybe like a snake, right? Like, the snake is the classic first enemy that, you know, you obviously see within this game, right? And, you know, it brought, like, something new to it. It's like, you know, oh, well, a snake against a Saiyan or a snake against, you know, somebody that's really powerful. That's not really nothing. But, like, the thing is that these games are notorious for making, like, certain types of animals that are, like, so overpowered and busted. I don't know, it was just really unique, I thought. Like, I really liked the way that they did that. But anyway, the first enemy was a snake, and, you know, this is kind of a death sentence early on because, like, these snakes are, like, stronger in the game than you think they are, right? And, you know, if you're not playing, like, really carefully, then you will probably get KO'd by these snakes, like, eventually, bro. But, like, you know, it was a pretty cool approach, right? Well, now the second enemy that you fight is a squirrel, and yes, I mean a regular brown squirrel. You know, these squirrels, they could throw, like, nuts at, like, Goku and the others that actually deal a surprising amount of damage within the game. And the funny thing about this is actually literally a big meme within the community, right? Like a lot of people really know about this meme, and it's like a very funny meme, right? And I mean, you know, I can't really say I blame it for being a funny meme, to be honest, because I mean, it's a freaking squirrel, bro. Like, what is a squirrel going to do to Goku at this point? But, like, anyway, I thought it was a really cool approach that they tried something different. And so, next we're going to kind of go to, like, Master Roshi's Island on this game. And, see, the enemies that you fought here were, like, crabs, right? They were little crabs, and, like, you know, they have, like, extremely, like, high defense, which is crazy for a crab, I guess. But you know, they would snipe you with, like, you know, bubbles and stuff, right? And it was very unique, bro. Like, it was really unique, I thought, you know, growing up playing this. But, anyway, like, another one is, like, the wolf. You know, these are often found in, like, forests, you know, and they have basically, like, a dash attack that can stun Goku and the others. Highly annoying, honestly, but, like, kind of provides a more of a challenge than you thought. So another one that's an animal, like, is like a hawk and an eagle. You know, they basically fly circles and kind of dive bomb you. These was actually in Legacy of Goku 2 as well as with some of the snakes and the wolves as well. Anyway, you know, since Goku's, like, vertical hitboxes are, like, kind of weird within the first game. Crap. But But yeah, since his hitboxes are kind of weird in the first game, you know, these hawks and eagles are incredibly frustrating to hit, like within the first game. And, you know, they provide kind of like a decent challenge, I would say. And it was just, it was crazy, but like at the same time, it was actually pretty fun. But the next enemies I want to talk about within the first game is like, you know, obviously there were mercenaries, you know, these guys in green outfits, brown outfits with guns, and they actually have a faster fire rate than Goku's basic Ki Blast, which is like really crazy. But anyway, soldiers are another one that was in this, you know, standard infantry soldier found, you know, they're pretty much found near like research facilities within the game, you know, places like that, right? You know, and they honestly like did more damage than you would think, because you know, when you would be playing the game, obviously you have like one health bar, you know, and then your key bar, and then, you know, enemies would drop like certain food or little key orbs, you know, to replenish them and such. But now the next one I want to talk about, now this one here honestly was a pain in the ass. And it is the dinosaurs. So, you may be asking, if you haven't played these games, well, what makes the dinosaurs such a pain in the ass? Well, they were honestly more of a pain in the ass in the second game, honestly, than the first, to be honest. And the thing is, like, with this, is they did an incredibly amount of damage. Like in the first game, it was like small pterodactyls and raptors, right? You know, not really too all that great, like to have to deal with. I mean, they have a lot of health, you know, and they usually guard like paths to the next area, right? But like, other than that, like, you know, in the first game, they wasn't really like too much of a nuisance, I don't guess, in the first game. But like, we'll get to the thing in the second game here momentarily. But come on, sorry y'all. Come on. Anyway, you know, and then like the Namek enemies, obviously, is like the Ginyu Force grunts, obviously. And okay, why did you? Bam. You know, and then like, you know, they're also like blue and green saucers, basically, and what these were they were like flying robotic drones with like, you know, they would shoot lasers, basically, and they were kind of a pain in the butt, too. But, you know, and then the Namekian fish were also enemies as well. Kind of a given there. But, here's the thing, you know, you may be asking on the first game, why is it such a struggle with these enemies? You know, and, you know, the question really remains is, it's like, you know, the squirrel, basically like with the squirrel thing, it's like, you know, I'm a Super Saiyan, well, I mean, technically not yet, but like, you know, you're a Saiyan, you know, I defeated King Piccolo, you know, but why is this squirrel taking 4, like, hits to die? You know, and the nut that like was thrown, like, it's almost like it's the hardest metal within the universe or something, because it does fairly amount of more damage than you would kind of think, honestly. And another one too is like with the herb hunt, you know, like the flight mechanic thing. Like flying drains your energy so fast that you're pretty much forced to walk around like the monsters, and you know it's just, I don't know, that was kind of annoying too. But like, you know, and then like another one is like the health bar panic, right? Like, you know, I know this all too well because I've witnessed this many a times playing this. Like, the first game honestly does not have a lot of checkpoints, believe it or not, and that was a big problem. And they fixed this in part 2, but it's like, you know, talk about like you get anxiety, you know, when a snake appears, because one bite means you might just actually lose 20 minutes of progress. Like, because if you die, it reloads your last save. And, you know, if a snake comes along and bites the character, bro, you could lose 20 to 20 plus minutes of, like, playtime you just did, right? So it's like, you know, that right there on its own was really, really tough. Like, you know... But now, Legacy of Goku 2, I'm going to move on to Legacy of Goku 2. So, Legacy of Goku 2, in my personal opinion, was the best one. I thought that game was really, really amazing. And, you know, now you're talking about snakes, okay? So, I'm going to talk about snakes again. You know, obviously, you got your green snakes. Green snakes obviously aren't too much of a problem in this game anymore. However, now we've got 2 new variants of snakes. There is a yellow snake and there is a purple snake. And the purple ones are notorious for being like fast and annoying as hell. You know, like they're pretty quick, these purple snakes. And like... they can KO you pretty quickly if you don't KO them quick. You know, the wolves, you know, you actually find these wolves very early on, like on the first level, bro. Like, that these wolves are already there. Like I mentioned before, they have a dash attack that can pretty much stun you, and, you know, this is very true in the second game as well. They can stun you as well. So, that mechanic is still the same. You know, the same thing with, like, hawks, and they are in this too. You know, they do the dive bombing thing, and sometimes they can be very difficult to freaking hit, making them pretty much one of the most hated early game enemies in Legacy of Goku 2, right? So they're pretty early on. Now, the one that I want to talk about a little bit is the one that is found in the southern continent, and it is alligators. Now, this one introduced the alligator enemies. Now, as far as the alligator enemies go, these are freaking notorious, bro, like, for just having a plethora of health for no specific reason. Like, I don't know why these have all this health, but like they have a lot of health for just absolutely no reason. They take pretty much a lot of hits to, you know, obviously depending on your level. Now, another one, like, you know, the thing is with these alligators is like, you know, they're actually quicker than you think, believe it or not. They're actually quicker. Like, you would think that, like, oh, they're kind of big, so they're kind of clunky, slow. No, they are not at all like that. They're a lot more quicker than you would actually believe. And it's just, you know, it goes to show that, like, some of these enemies that's in this game is just, I don't know, bro, like, it really kind of puts your like challenge to the test, really. But like I don't know, I just really liked it, so to say, and but the next enemy I'm going to talk about is the saber-toothed tigers. Now these are found pretty late in the game. They are in the snowy mountains, and these do a lot of damage. You know, kind of makes sense that they do a lot of damage, actually, considering they're saber-toothed tigers. But yet again, you know, by this point, your characters like Vegeta, Goku, Trunks, Gohan can all go Super Saiyan. And like Super Saiyan 1, right? And you know, the thing with that is like these saber-toothed tigers can KO you pretty quickly, even in those forms, right? So you know, you got to be really careful when you when you're dealing with these kinds of enemies on this game, because you know, like, because if you don't, you know, you're going to be like hurting later on. And you know, I think it's pretty fun. But like the next one is obviously like insects, right? So like very giant ladybugs, right? You know, these are like the very first enemies you see as Gohan on the very first level. These, what they do is they constantly, like, well, sort of constantly, they shoot like this web stuff, and it's very highly annoying, you know. And the next one is scorpions, right? So these are usually found in caves. You know, they can poison you, which drain your ki and HP pretty dang quick. You know, so it's like, do not get poisoned if you come across these, because if you do, you're going to find yourself struggling with it. Which, you know, the struggle was good. I have to say, I really liked the struggle in the game, you know. So, but anyway, the next enemy is, you know, machines. Basically, these are like destroyers. You know, they are giant walking tanks that shoot missiles, right? Not honestly that big of a deal. And then the drone bots are also back in this game. They're flying security cameras that shoot tiny yellow blasts, right? And the next one is actually not from the first game. It's actually egg bots. And the egg bots are like these little round bots with lasers that are very highly annoying. Like, they're very highly annoying. And like, these enemies here, honestly, are, I wouldn't say like excruciatingly hard, but like I would say that like they do provide kind of like a more of a challenge than you would actually kind of think. So it's like, you know, yeah, it's kind of crazy, but anyway. And then some of the other enemies, well, the last two enemies I'm going to talk about within Legacy of Goku 2 that are obviously not villains or whatever, just standard enemies. One of them is Kuma mercenaries. These are humans pretty much just wearing bear hats, right? Like, these honestly aren't really all that big of a deal. But, like, they can be kind of KO'd pretty easily, honestly. So, these are not really a problem. However, the last enemies that I want to talk about is they're usually found near Dr. Giro's hideout. and they throw shurikens. These are honestly very annoying. You actually fight a couple of them as soon as you get to his lab. Basically, Legacy of Goku 2 is the Android Cell Sega, and I think it was a very good game on the GBA actually. You know, it's like it's pretty cool because you know I think it's pretty cool that they did that. But like anyway, now when you beat the game, actually, when Goku dies, you can no longer use him. Like, unless you have like a cheat code. But like, Goku is actually replaced with Hercule on the end game. Yeah, I know, pretty crappy replacement, but that would probably be my biggest problem with the game, actually. That's my only problem with it, actually. Now, the next game I want to talk about is pretty much Legacy of Goku 3, but it is called Buu's Fury, and obviously this is the Buu Sega. Like, this game takes creativity to the next level because this game actually travels to the other world, different planets, and to HFIL, which is technically Hell. You know, you actually fight Janemba there as well. He's actually pretty hard until you like fuse into Gogeta, and then it's like, yeah, he goes down like with very little effort. Yeah, so like the other world, you know, Hell, HFIL, whatever you want to call it, you fight like these souls. You know, they're translucent enemies. These can pass through walls. I mean ghosts, sorry, not souls. But you do fight souls, which are floating blue orbs. Skeletons and mummies. Okay, so these are actually found in the Pharaoh's tomb. Kind of one of the weirdest, like, I would say, kind of filler parts in the game. You know, so... And then you fight these shadow dragons. These are small snake-like dragons that fly around King Kai's planet. Not the shadow dragons from GT. Anyway, now moving on to like Hercule City, you fight like criminals like, you know, snipers, thugs, red shark gangs. You know, the sniper thugs can shoot you from a distance, obviously. The Red Shark Gang street punks, you know, they're basically street punks with mohawks and jackets. And then there's heavy brawlers, you know, huge guys that look like Arnold, like, you know, from the Terminator. And, you know, they can do quite a bit of damage. Okay, I did not even mean to destroy that this time, but I'll take it. Anyway, so yeah, you know, aliens, obviously you fight like these mudmen. These are golems of like brown and heavy green sludge, or gray sludge. Yeah, another thing too is like you fight like some other enemies. I don't really remember the names of these. I'm just kind of doing the names I really remember as far as Buu's Fury goes. Now, there were also, like, caster Majins, you know, little hood figures, like, little hooded figures that basically would, like, kind of cast, like, these magical fireball things. And then it's like, you know, you also fought enemies like, Yakon, Pew Pew, I think is how it says his name. That's the only game I remember even fighting him in, except Kakarot. But I'll get to Kakarot. you know, and obviously the fighter Majins you fight as well. These are buff pink skinned soldiers. Basically, Bobby uses kind of like guard his ship. In other words, but yeah, you know. But anyway, you know. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot actually brought some of the stuff back, but just with the other different things, right? Now, it wasn't like 100% like Legacy of Goku, but it really reminded me of those games, honestly, when, you know, playing it, like, whenever I feel like playing it, it reminds me of those games. And, you know, I don't know, I really have, like, a great appreciation for those games, but yeah, Kakarot honestly really, I think, held its end of the bargain up on, you know, like, just overall, like, with similarities to Legacy of Goku, right? But, yeah, you know, like, the whole thing with, like, Buu's Fury is, like, you know, traveling to like all the other world planets and stuff like that, you come across like a lot of these other unique enemies like in the game, and you know, one of the best things you can honestly do, right, is like use your scouter for those enemies to register them at like Bulma's capsule port place, right? But it's like, you know, the funny thing is like the ladybug is viewed as like a fearsome predator, right? And, you know, the fact is, like, kind of just compare this with, like, you know, the fact that Gohan even being a kid could basically blow up a moon. You know, but like, yet a ladybug is like one of the fiercest enemies, bro. Like, this right here is just kind of funny, honestly, at the same time. But yeah, I really, I think I should probably play them again because, you know, it's been a while since I played them, and I played these all the time when I was young, like. Young kid, and I grew up playing them and even played them into adulthood and all of that stuff, right? And, you know, like, I would really like to just really play them again, you know, and whatnot. So, yeah, I mean, I really like the games, right? So, anyway, so moving on to Legacy of Goku 4, which is basically my opinion what it should be. I mean, it doesn't exist, but I think Legacy of Goku 4 should obviously be the GT timeline, the Shadow Dragons, you know, Logic, all of them. I think that would have been very cool. We got a game that was very kind of close to that. It just really wasn't any good. It was called GT Transformation. It was like, I don't know, the game just really wasn't nowhere near as good as Legacy of Goku, right? Or nothing, but yeah, but that would be my like version of Legacy of Goku 4. You know, it would be where you fight like the GT Shadow Dragons, you know, and all of that stuff, right? You know, but the thing is like, that's kind of the given. So I'm going to kind of talk about a little bit about like what I would like to see for Legacy of Goku 5 if it ever happened, right? So Legacy of Goku 5, in my personal opinion, I think it would be obviously from Dragon Ball Super. I think like this game should be divided within 2 parts. I think it would be the Goku Black arc, and I think it should be the Universe 6 arc and the Tournament of Power arc. I think that would have been really, really cool to kind of see. I mean, sadly, it'll probably never happen, but like, you know, that it would have been really cool to see that because I don't know. I just feel like it would be. I don't know. I feel like it would be really cool, but you know, dang. Okay. Anyway, okay, hang on a minute. I had to. All right, so I had to focus there for a second. Anyway, like, I think it would be really cool because, you know, you could use obviously like Trunks Super Saiyan Rage form and, you know, all of that, and like, you know, Legacy of Goku 2 opens up basically with like future Gohan and like Kid Trunks like fighting the androids, and obviously future Gohan dies. You know, it starts off like that, so it'd be like, you know, I feel like, you know, it could start off maybe possibly like with like a cut scene like from like, oh, how Goku fought Beerus or something, right? That or like Golden Frieza, or both. But like, yeah, I think it would be pretty dang cool to see that. So, yeah. Sadly, I don't think that we will honestly ever get that. But like, you know, these games were really, really fun. Like, you know, growing up playing them, you know, I really couldn't get enough of playing them because, like, you know, the games were just, I don't know, they, in my opinion, they're some of the best Dragon Ball games made, like, not including, like, PlayStation games. I feel like that they are really good, you know, but anyway, yeah. But like, yeah, you know, have you played these games? You know, if you've played these games, let me know in the comments because I would really like to know if you all have played them because, and like, what's your favorite thing about it? Like, is there like a favorite enemy you have that like you really like to go against? Is there, you know, excluding like the main villains, you know, Cell and Buu and all of them like that, Janemba, like as far as the animals go, is there like, you know, something like you had more trouble with, you know? But anyway, the thing I want to kind of touch base on again, going back, I actually forgot to say something. So the dinosaurs within Legacy of Goku 2 actually were some of the hardest freaking enemies within the game, right? So like these enemies can be unlocked like on the level you go to find Dr. Giro's lab, which honestly isn't really all that far into the game. You know, you're practically like maybe level anywhere from like 19, 18, possibly 16, 17, 15, around those levels. Like, anyway, you could find them. I mean, there's a gate that says like 40 with like in the character's color, because these had like gates to where like you had to have a certain character to pass it. And obviously this was for like later in the game, but like there was this one dinosaur that would like charge at the gate, and you could kind of hit it through the gate, and it still could hit you too. So it's like you kind of had to play your cards right. But it was a very good way to grind for XP and like level up really fast because, yeah, sure, it's very time consuming, but these dinosaurs are like a whopping level 40. So it's like, you know, you gain quite a bit of good experience from that. Like, you know, most of the time, like when you're like 20s, like it takes like two pushing 3 like KOs for these dinosaurs to level you up. right? Like, you know, but even like when you're like 19, 20, 21 and stuff like that, like you will just level up automatically, bro. Like, you know, you may even level up twice, depending on, but like, but yeah, you know, you just got to be careful. But like, you know, I really liked that feature. It was really fun, you know, even though it was like very early on, you know, I felt like that was really cool that you could kind of like do that Easter egg to kind of grind a little bit, to like grind your characters up a little bit through with XP, and they get more HP and stuff like that. And, you know, there's also like a power stat, a strength stat, you know, stuff like that, stamina stat. You get these things like these little capsules from Capsule Corp, which are like laying around in different places. Like, there's not really a whole plethora of them, but you can like use them, and like a lot of them will like either like up it by 1, some of them will up it by 3, and then some of them will up it by 5. And these are pretty hard to come by, like unless you're like using an action replay on GBA, you know, but from back in the day and whatnot. But other than that, they're pretty hard to come by. But, you know, really, really good stuff. I mean, there are enemies I did not mention due to the fact I do not remember their names, but there's a whole plethora of them. You know, it's like Tropical Islands had a whole plethora of, like, very, like, hard enemies and whatnot. But, like, yeah, you know, I really, like, miss those days when those games were, like, released and stuff. Like, I remember that. Like, you know, it was really, I don't know, it was really fun, like, just playing them. Bro, I don't know what is up with Maju, but he is, like, trying his damnedest to KO me. Get out of here. But, like, yeah, you know, I mean, I really miss them. Like, you know, I wish they would, like, make more of them, but, you know, they're not going to, obviously. Like, one of the companies that helped was, like, Bandai, like, Atari and Edfoot. Like, Edfoot, I think, is way out of business by now. Haven't heard anything from them since I was, like, gosh, maybe, like, 16, 17, I don't know. Anyway, like, yeah, try this again. But yeah, I don't know, I just really liked it. I thought the games were very unique in nature for, you know, like a Dragon Ball Z game. I thought it was really interesting. You know, obviously the GT Transformation game was not really that good, honestly. But, yeah, that I would make Legacy of Goku 4, you know, if be about like GT, and then, or well, actually, you know, it'd probably be about 5 since GT comes after Super, but you know, you could swap 4 and 5, I guess, but yeah, like, you know, it'd be cool, like, obviously in like the Super one, you know, Goku could go like Autonomous Ultra Instinct and whatnot. Super Saiyan Blue, all that stuff, right? SSG, but I don't know. I think it'd be really interesting, but anyway, yeah. But yeah, you know, these games were just, I don't know. They were really just nostalgic in nature now. But like, you know, like I said, I did grow up playing them. And, you know, like, back when days were simpler, obviously. But, yeah. Anyway, like I said, you know, if you've played these games, I would love to, like, you know about that in the comments, obviously. You know, I'm kind of curious, like, what I said before, you know. And then, you know, what was your main characters you used, you know, in those games? You know, I mean, it didn't have, like, a whole plethora of characters you could use. But, like, you know, just kind of like the common Z fighters. Um, but yeah. Anyway, let's see. I think I covered. There was one thing I was going to cover. What was it? Trying to think of what it was. You know, and then they like, I don't know, they also came out with these other games. These wasn't like Legacy of Goku, but like after this, they did like, it was like Dragon Ball Z Supersonic Warriors. And this one was like, it was okay, but it wasn't really like, it was better than the GT Transformation, obviously, but it wasn't. I don't know. It didn't really. It wasn't the same like platform of them or anything, but yeah. I mean, it was just not really all that good. But anyway, yeah. So that'll do it for this video. Figured I would kind of come on here and talk about that. But yeah, those games are pretty good. If you've not played them, go and play them, and yeah, let me know what you think. I guess I'll end this one here. Thank you for tuning in and listening, and I shall see you all next time. God bless you all, and peace.